to build a pool or keep a basin where spirits would continue to supply special water. This water is what you hear them call holy water. Many people, when disturbed by evil spirits, go to these prophets to cast them out. The truth is, they only add more demons to them. A devil cannot cast out a devil. What the prophet would do is, he will pray for the member and then give him or her a red cloth to put in his or her house, and then would advise him or her to always pray with candles and incenses. By this act, the person invites us into his or her house. Sometimes the member would be advised to bring a goat, etc., for sacrifice. These sacrifices are for us to come and help cure the man. The prophet has no power to cure or heal. Number 2, opening of maternities. If a woman comes to us for assistance in opening a maternity and making it prosper, she would be given this condition. A month would be chosen by us in which all the children born in the maternity would die, but the other months the children would live. If she accepts, she would also be given a charm which would attract people into the maternity. There are such maternities in Onitsha, Lagos, etc. Shoes are not allowed into such maternities. Number 3, opening of fancy stores. When a man approaches us for assistance in this respect, he would be given a ring with the condition that no woman would be allowed to touch it. He also must agree to be our member. If he accepts to fulfill these conditions, his store would be stocked always with the best and latest materials, by us. Number 4, giving of children. If a barren woman goes to some native doctors after laying her complaints, she would be asked to bring the following: a white cock, a goat, native chalk, and baby care. She would be advised to go, and in her absence the native doctor will come to us bringing these things. We would then mix certain things which are difficult to explain in writing, and include human ashes. He would use this charm to cook food for the woman. She would become pregnant and give birth, but it's not a normal human being. If the child is a female, she would live and even get married, but would remain barren all her life. If the child is a male, he will live and even be trained, only to die suddenly. They never live to bury their parents. I would like to mention here that barrenness is mostly caused by demons. You may see a woman barren here on earth, but she would have children in the sea. I therefore advise God's children to wait on God alone, because only God gives real children. Number 5, giving of money. If a man comes to us for money, he would be given these conditions to fulfill. He will be asked to give a part of his body, or if he has a family, he would be asked to bring his son. If single, he would be asked to bring his elder or younger brother. Whoever he decides to bring must be from the same womb. Something worth mentioning is, during the killing of the victim, the person who brought him would be given a spear or an arrow. His relations would be made to file past in a mirror. As soon as the one he had donated passes, he would be asked to strike, and as this happens, the victim would die where he is. There are other methods, but one thing Satan does is this. He makes sure that in the different methods, the donor becomes responsible for the death of the victim by making the donor strike the victim. Remember, Satan has no free gift. Chapter 4. How Satan Fights Christians. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Ephesians 6:10-12. Fighting Christians. After the command by Lucifer to fight the Christians, we then sat and mapped out ways of fighting them as follows. Number 1, causing sickness. Number 2, causing barrenness. Number 3, causing slumber in the church. Number 4, causing confusion in the church. Number 5, causing lukewarmness in the church. Number 6, making them ignorant of the Word of God. Number 7, by fashion and emulation. Number 8, fighting them physically. Amongst the above, I would like to explain 2. Number 1, fighting physically. With the TV given to me, I would see the born-again Christians. We do not fight hypocrites because they belong to us already. We would then send our girls first to the big churches. Inside the church, they would be chewing gum or making a child cry or do anything that would distract the people from hearing the Word of God. They may decide to come spiritually and cause the people to sleep while the preaching is going on. The moment they see you have a sober reflection because of the preaching, they would wait on you outside the church, and as you come out, one of them would greet you and even present you a gift, and it's always what you love. and would appear very friendly. She would do everything, and before you knew what was happening, you had forgotten all you learned in the church. But for a real Christian, one of these girls, after the service, would jump out to greet you and would desire to know your house with the pretext that she was new in town and did not know many Christians around. On taking her home, she would quickly buy bananas, and the Christian would take this as a gesture of love. She would continue her visits until she finally puts off the light of Christ in you, and then stops coming. Major operations in the living churches and fellowships are discouraging the Christians from reading and studying the Word of God, and thereby making them ignorant of their authority and of the promises of God. In crusade grounds, these girls would be sent to cause disagreements and quarrels. How Christians are known. The born-again Christians are not known by the Bible they carry always, or the many fellowships they attend. They are known in the spirit world by the light that shines continuously like a very bright candle in the heart, or a circle of light around the head, or a wall of fire around them. When a Christian is walking along, we see angels walking along with him or her, one by the right, one by the left, and one behind. This makes it impossible for us to come near him or her. The only way we succeed is by making the Christian sin, thereby giving us a loophole to come in. When a Christian is driving a car and we want to harm him or her, we find that he or she is never alone in the car. There is always an angel by him or her. Oh, if the Christian only knows all that God has for him, he will not meddle with sin or live carelessly. Number 2, the making of backslidden Christians. As a chairman appointed by Lucifer, I would send these girls to living churches and fellowships. These girls would be well dressed, and after the preaching would come out for the altar call, pretend to have received Christ, and would be prayed for. At the end of the fellowship or service, they would hang around waiting for the preacher, who naturally would be very happy for these new converts. The converts may even follow the preacher to his house. If the preacher does not have the spirit of discernment, she would lure him into the sin of fornication or adultery. This takes place the moment he admires her lustfully. She would make sure he continued in this sin until she finally quenches the Spirit of God in him, and then leave him, mission accomplished. At this juncture, I would like to give a testimony of a minister. In the evil spirit world, he is known as a man of God. When he went on his knees, there would be confusion among us. We therefore sent these girls to him. The man would even feed them, but would refuse to be enticed. They did all they could, but never succeeded. As a result, these girls were killed for their failure. I then changed into a woman and went to him, and by words and actions tried to entice him, but he was adamant. This was too much for me, so I decided to kill him physically. One day, this minister went to Ottowekpe Road, Market Town. I watched him as he bent down to price some commodities. I wheeled an oncoming trailer loaded with drums of oil into the market where he was. The trailer struck the NEPA high-tension pole and fell right into the market, leaving many people dead. But this minister escaped. How he escaped was a miracle. Another day I saw him traveling to the town of Nikpur on foot. I again wheeled an oncoming army lorry loaded with yams to kill him. The lorry went straight into the new cemetery road, killed many people, but this minister again escaped. After this second attempt we gave up. He is still alive. Because of a single Christian, the devil may decide to destroy many souls, thinking he could kill him, but he always fails. These incidents had happened to many Christians unknown to them, but their God always delivered them. The trouble is, the devil does not give up. His thoughts are always, I may succeed. But he never does. As long as the Christian walks with God's love and remains in him and does not get entangled with the affairs of this life, the devil can never succeed, no matter how hard he tries. Only the unbeliever is at his disposal. The oppression of the Christian. This mostly happens in dreams. A Christian may see, in his or her dreams, the following. Number 1, a dead relation visiting him or her. Number 2, masquerades pursuing him or her. Number 3, mates swimming in the river. Number 4, mates bringing food and asking him or her to eat. Number 5, a single female having sexual intercourse or even a married one having sex with a man. This, if not dealt with, sometimes leads to barrenness. Or a pregnant woman sees herself having sexual intercourse with a man. This, if not immediately dealt with, could lead to a miscarriage. If a Christian experiences the above in his or her dreams, he or she should not put it aside by the wave of the hand, but on getting out of sleep, he or she